Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and the 3 Substack newsletters, Knowing Whispers, Messages from the Universe, Trump and America, and Ask the Astrologer. Today my video is entitled Kamala, Waiting for the Other Shoe to Drop. What I'm going to do here in a series of images is to alert you to the possibility that we could be seeing something unexpected and unusual occurring very soon, particularly the 15th of this month, which is 2 days away. These particular images will show the chart of the United States of America and also the chart of Kamala Harris, and some significant aspects and significant associations between the two charts themselves. So hopefully you are enjoying everything that is going on, that you're still kind of living through the euphoria of the Democratic National Convention and also the recent defeat of Donald Trump. But as always, I have tried to balance between the euphoria of seeing democracy winning and the reality that Donald Trump is somebody that, to the very end of everything that he's been doing, that it is unlikely that he's just going to go over into a corner, ball up, cry and quit. There are others that have invested money in what he is trying to do, even as frail and as messed up as he is. And you can bet with this current wave of euphoria for the Democratic Party and the polling and stuff, that there are others along with Trump that are plotting something devious. And there's also the possibility here, because of what I'll be talking about, that the universe might be throwing something into the equation here that will be a challenge for both America and also Kamala Harris. Kind of a karmic, unsuspected something or other thrown into the mix. Okay, I want to start off here with Kamala Harris's horoscope. And as I've mentioned many times, for those of you that are learning astrology and also those of you that are astrologers, and maybe you have forgotten this in the process of all the things that you have been doing, you always want to take a look at the condition of planets in the natal chart, because it is those planets that are aspected by transits and by progressions. Their natal condition is going to show you how severe or how strong or how great the opportunity may be presented by a transit or by a progression. So it's extremely important here, okay? And we want to look, for our purposes here, at Saturn in the chart of Kamala Harris. And I believe I talked about this possibly a couple of videos ago. Particularly Saturn and also Pluto. Okay, you see Pluto down here. In this chart, she has a very strong Saturn, okay, in the 9th house, almost close to the midheaven. This is the house of law, the house of courts, okay? the house of higher ideals. Keep in mind that right now it is transiting into her 10th house, which would be her desire to be president. And it is going to be opposing on the 15th Pluto down here in the 4th house, the house of personal privacy. All right. Pluto rules, okay, the 6th house of work and service to others, also health. Saturn rules the 8th house of death and transformation, also the finances of your partner, okay, amongst many other things. So this Saturn opposition Pluto here that I'm going to be talking about and showing you is very important because it's also mirroring to the day an aspect that is occurring in the chart of the United States of America. And what this can mean is that what affects America as a result of this event, if it occurs, also has a tremendous impact upon Kamala Harris, okay, upon her will, upon her desire, her belief, her sense of destiny and fate and things of this nature. So all of this is going to come into play, okay, and what I'm showing you here. And it's rather extensive in the fact that there's about 9 images here, but I wanted to try to back up and show you different ways of looking at what it is that I'm talking about, okay? All right, the next image here. All right, again, too, this is the Janus 6.1 program, in case you're wondering, okay, for those of you that might be learning or wanting to know about astrology. They also have a non-professional version, a light version, which does many of the things that you're seeing here, but it's not as extensive. What I was talking about in the other, okay, image is this transiting Saturn here, okay? This is set for the 15th, opposing exactly Pluto, okay? And again, the houses that they're in, the houses that they rule, tell you something about what is going to occur. It describes it in detail. It paints a picture in depth the more that you look at these things, okay? And of course, aspects to them, okay, also influences the severity of what could occur, okay, as this thing begins to manifest. So this is what we're looking at in regards to an event coming close to the 15th of this month, all right? All right, now just to kind of reinforce that, you can see here that on the 15th, all right, transiting Saturn is going to oppose Pluto. All right, Mars is semi-squaring Mars, okay, also on the 15th, okay, and also on the 17th, something else that's kind of been thrown into the mix here, not transiting, but the Sun and the Moon are in a partial lunar eclipse on the 17th, and that Moon is in the 10th house of her profession, her fate, her career, obviously her desire to be in the presidency, okay? And I did believe I said semi-square, Mars semi-squaring Mars, okay? All right, so this is the stage that is being set up for Kamala Harris, okay, as we move towards the 15th. Now, we're going to take a look at the USA chart, okay? You'll remember in several of my past videos, I've kind of tried to remind you of the fact that at some point in September, that Uranus is going to square the Moon in the USA chart, okay? Now, in the USA chart, and again, you have to keep in mind that we don't know the exact time that the Declaration of Independence was signed. It has been basically, you know, said that 5:10 p.m. is what they believe, the majority of astrologers believe, sets the stage for what seems to be the nature of the United States of America, okay? In the natal chart, okay, Uranus is in Gemini, okay? You can see down here that the Moon is in Aquarius. Uranus rules Aquarius. It also, in this situation, rules the 3rd house of communications, the house of siblings on another level. Okay, so this is kind of the stage here, okay, that we're talking about in terms of this event. Whatever this event is, in terms of the United States of America, it's going to be Uranus unexpected, Uranus unknown, Uranus, freedom in some sense, freedom from restriction. And then the moon, of course, has to do with the people, basically. Okay, all people, regardless of your race or creed, it's everybody. All right. So, what is happening here on the 15th, September the 15th? All right. Here is Uranus squaring the moon. So, what we have here going on, and I'll show this again here in a little bit, on the 15th, in the USA chart, Uranus is exactly squaring the moon. In Kamala Harris's chart, transiting Saturn is exactly opposing Pluto. So these two events are somehow tied together, and they are adverse aspects. Okay, they are the kind of karmic fated aspects that are the double whammy type, that you didn't see that coming and then it hit you, or a gut punch, this type of thing. So for all of the elation and all of the hopefulness that we have embraced because of what we're seeing happen with the National Convention, the Democratic National Convention, and also with Kamala Harris, okay, and her defeating Trump, we have to keep in mind that there is something else going on here, okay? We have a tendency to want to fall back into sleep because of the fact that we don't like having to confront our fears. We don't like the feeling of losing control. We want to believe that we can do what we want. We have the freedom to do that. And we want to teach our children this type of thing, okay? But there is this thing called karma, okay? And it kind of sits in the background behind all of our hopes and dreams and desires and wishes. And it knocks us off our feet every once in a while. And it causes us to deal with some very deep personal truths about life and about ourselves. And this is the stage that we're on. Okay, this is what we're confronting. All right, the universe is not done. You know, we're going through a process of awakening now. Many people are beginning to awaken and reevaluate the purpose of life in their lives. But far too many are still asleep and hoping that somebody is going to come along and save them. And it's just not going to happen. Okay, we cannot and we will not go back. The past is the past. For those of you that are my age, the 50s and 60s, they're gone. All right. Those feelings and stuff we can cherish, we can be grateful for, but those things are in the past, and we're not going to see those types of things happen. Something else is happening. Something very profoundly deep, spiritual, conscious. Okay. USA chart. Excuse me. Uranus squaring the moon. September the 15th. So again, we had this situation of something happening in Kamala Harris's chart, something happening in the chart of the USA. They're most likely tied together. All right. So we have to assume, really, that something is going to affect the country and also affect her. It could be very shocking. All right. It could be very disturbing. It could take the wind out of all this euphoria and bring us back to a level of reality. It's really hard to say to what extent this is going to impact Donald Trump. He has his own mess to deal with, or whether or not he has any part in this process of what's going on. We won't know that until it actually occurs. All right. Okay. And finally, the last chart that I've got here is a tri-wheel. And what this is, and I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit for you. Okay, not too much. There we go. All right, you're looking at Kamala Harris's horoscope in here. You're looking at the chart of the United States of America over here. And it's done that way because we don't know for certain the time of the USA chart. And then the transits on the 15th. Or I'm sorry, this is for the 12th. Okay, but because of the factors involved, okay, it won't change the placements of the planets in here because they move too slow. But the thing to notice here is transiting Saturn opposing Kamala Harris's Pluto. But here is transiting Uranus. And look what it's doing here. It is squaring her natal Saturn, okay, in a house that it rules, the house of law, the house of courts, the house of really ethics and things. It's also the house in which the moon of the United States of America is conjunct that Saturn. This ties intimately, okay, her belief structure, her identity to a certain extent as a lawyer, per se, okay, or the Attorney General of New York, okay, and the moon, the people, okay, of the United States of America. There is a connection there. And of course, this aspect in any way, shape, or form, Saturn and the moon, is a very depressive type of aspect, okay, or it can be very depressive, all right? So this may not be something which people are prepared for right now. And again, we're talking about a gut punch. And here is Saturn again in, okay, the house of career, profession, karma, and fate, in a sense, all right? The presidency that she is seeking, okay? And Uranus is going to be aspecting the natal Saturn, okay, which will have an impact upon this transiting Saturn as well. Because again, while your mind is trying to tell you that this is all a big conglomerated mess of symbols that I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, all right, all of this is tied together, okay? The universe is one whole, all right? Now, another thing to take into consideration here is that transiting Pluto right now is stationary, okay, going stationary, either direct or retrograde, okay? That's important. When planets are stationary, they become more powerful. And like I was mentioning, I think, in another video I did some time ago, we have 4 or 5 planets, outer planets, that are stationary direct in September and October, maybe even in November, all right? So this is something which is, it's like time and space are slowing down to a particular event, and we're being, on a deeper level, being told, watch this. This is important, all right? We know the election's important, all right? That, again, is kind of a indication of these planets going stationary, whether they're retrograde or direct. The planet has slowed down. Its impact and influence is much stronger than if it was going direct or retrograde. So in this situation, with the Pluto being in the 8th house of Kamala Harris, and Pluto being in a state of retrograde, stationary, retrograde, or stationary direct, we have an intensification of the energy of Pluto, of transformation, of death and rebirth, okay? It's really difficult, other than what I've mentioned to you about the houses that rule, okay, these planets and where these planets are by transit, to say whether or not this is an issue that could have something to do with a family member. Some people have thought that maybe it could be her husband, or it could be a situation maybe of her sister, because you'll notice that in the chart that I mentioned here a little bit ago of the USA, that the moon is in the 3rd house. That's the house of siblings, okay? So there are many, many things that can be assumed, quite honestly, to be the area of impact of what it is that we could see going on. But my biggest concern here, and the reason for sharing this video with you, is to prepare you for something that may be totally unexpected, that nobody could prepare for, and that we have to trust, all right, that the universe is wanting this to be done for the benefit of everyone, even though emotionally it doesn't seem that way. And again, this is kind of the situation that we are dealing with here. When you take a look at this entire thing of Trump going back to 2016, the fear, okay, the fear that he's still pushing, all right, the control that he still wants, all right. This is all to reveal the level of our own fear, of our own ignorance, so to speak, about our spirituality, about the purpose of life, about what values are important. And the universe itself, okay, is in a sense teasing us, okay, showing us that if you continue down this particular path, this is what's going to happen, all right? That at some point in time, because the universe is invested in the evolution of mankind, if Donald Trump fails to accomplish the mission and we all fall asleep, all right, you can bet that there's going to be another Donald Trump that's going to be rising up somewhere. And we'll have to deal with that, or our children may have to deal with that down the road. So it's not something to be taken lightly. It is something, like I said, that to my knowledge now, I haven't seen anything to indicate that. Um, I do definitely think that we need to be on guard. Okay, we need to be within and prepare for whatever possibilities might happen. On another note, going back to the situation with Trump and the debate and the debacle of the debate, I'll go back to the progressed Venus squaring Saturn, okay, in August. It would have been beyond exactness, but still within the orbit influence of that. To me, that represents why Trump essentially failed to function in that debate. Okay, another indication of his karma and fate. His Saturn and Venus are conjunct in the 11th house, and that's kind of a house of politics in a way. Okay, groups, 11th house. Politics actually rules the 10th house. Okay, but again, it's all tied together, and it's like a huge puzzle. To give you an idea of what it's like to try to make some sense out of charts. It's like when you had those puzzles as a kid, and you had to search through the pieces to find ones that looked like they fit. All right. Well, this is what happens when you do astrological work a lot of times, is that you try to get all the pieces and you try to see how they fit. And then you try to get, as best as you can, a assessment of what you feel could happen. Okay. Not that you always would know what happens. As I've mentioned many times, a lot of the predictions that are made by astrologers, while there is a lot of time invested in logically looking and comparing, like I just mentioned to you, quite honestly, a lot of times it's just sheer luck. Okay. And I know that in some cases that's not totally accepted by a lot of astrologers and stuff, but in my own personal view, and my own experience of 35 years, a lot of the predictability, okay, is more intuitive and more luck than it is being able to prove through analysis that you have the exact answer to what's going to occur. Most of the time, that's not the case. Okay, I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that it prepares you. That's one of the things, I guess you might call it one of the things that when I began this channel, I stated in the very beginning, a disclaimer that I'm not so much interested in trying to prove to you how good of an astrologer I am as I am in alerting you and warning you to things that could and that may occur based upon my understanding of the astrology. Okay, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't think or I don't feel like that astrologers have to prove everything. I don't believe that's really the purpose of astrology. I think it's more in alignment with helping people to be alerted to events that are important to their own evolution and their own growth. And I do feel that that's kind of the direction astrology is going to go in the future. Okay, once we get out of this entertainment and out of this fortune-telling crap. Okay, all right. Again, for those of you that are members and subscribers, thank you so much. Those of you that make donations occasionally or that make donations on a monthly basis, it is deeply appreciated. We do appreciate that. I will be having another live stream, okay, here in the next, I think, possibly the next week or so. I'll let you know about that. I'll put that into the community section so you're aware of that. And if you get a chance to, mention it to your friends, mention it to others that are interested in astrology and awareness or what's happening, and come and join us and share. Okay, share what you feel and what you think and what your insights are. It's very important to the growth of the live stream itself. I will be doing them every Saturday in the month of October, okay, as this thing begins to get more interesting, and hopefully it will result in a Democratic winning for Kamala Harris and Waltz. Um, we'll just have to see how things go. Again, don't forget, we got Mars opposing Pluto on election day, so there's probably going to be outbursts somewhere. And also the aspects of Saturn opposing Kamala Harris's Pluto and Uranus all seem to be corralling right around that election. All right, so there could be a lot of delays and hindrances. We might find the Supreme Court sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong, and the Republicans certainly will. And Donald Trump will certainly want that. Okay, so on that note, everybody, vote. If you can't, or you're concerned about going out to vote at a particular polling place, you can have the ballots sent to your home and fill them out there and then mail them back in. Okay, from the Love of My Life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, we thank you again for your continued support of our work, and we hope that what we do is of value to you as well. And I look forward to the next video, which at this point we'll have to see. As I mentioned, I think in one of my posts in the community section, it's been difficult here lately. Part of it is because I've had a feeling like the universe was sitting on my head. The other part of it had to do with the fact that there's been so much flip-flopping going on. Trump going to do a debate, not going to do a debate, Trump getting sentenced after the election, okay, all of that stuff. We'll just have to see how that goes. Maybe I'll do a chart or a video on Trump getting sentenced after the election. That might be something to take a look at. Okay. All right. Thank you again, and I'll be back.